we are going to,
You're sleeping.
whoops, I'm sleeping, that's right. So we're going to,
Whoa, that's today.
yeah, earlier today I snapped this during my period 3 class. They're so boring.
Oh,
No. All right. So first thing we're going to be doing, you're going to get a picture of yourself / something, somebody else. I'm going to isolate this from the background, which I've already done. Okay, I just copied and pasted it onto a new layer. And then we're going to do a levels adjustment. Next time I'm going to do it, I'm just going to go Command L. Okay. So you've seen this before, hopefully. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm trying to make a selection of all of the shadows on my face here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to push and adjust this until I get a good amount of shadows. And I don't need them to look like shadows even. They could be bright or dark or whatever. I'm just looking to be able to make like a magic wand selection out of them. So I'm looking for a really solid, dark area or bright area that I can easily select. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing these dark circles here through my mouth. Also, we're going to be getting, the dark shadows are going to help define the details in our image. So we want to make sure we've got enough detail here. What I'm going to actually do is back this off a little bit, more like this, just to help define the kind of the eyes a little bit more, I think. I'm going to click OK on that. And there we go. Now I'm just going to magic wand and make sure this contiguous button is unchecked so that we can select all of the black on this layer all at once. All right, I'm going to make a new layer, turn this one off, take my paint bucket tool, and fill it in with black on a new layer. And there we go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to undo this. I made a mistake. Before I did the levels adjustment, I need to make a copy of this. I'm going to make a couple extra so that I don't make that mistake again. Now I'm going to do my levels adjustment. Zip, zip. There we go. Let's do that. Take my magic wand and select all the black areas again. Make a new layer. Take my paint bucket and fill it in. Okay, so now I've got this. Now what I'm going to do is try and get my midtones here. Okay, so I'm going to make another levels adjustment. And this time I'm going to look to get a larger area. Something kind of like this. Okay, we can always redo it later or tweak it after the fact here a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to again take my magic wand, select all of these dark areas, make another new layer, and fill that in, not with black, but with a gray value here. Okay. And fill that in. Deselect. Okay, so now what I've got is this. So we've got our midtones here in gray, and then we've got our darker shadow areas in black, and I'm going to try and get one more out of this. Let's do, I'm going to duplicate this layer again in case I needed to do another one. I'm going to make another levels adjustment, Command L. And we're going to try to get this kind of area in between the highlights and those mid-tone values that we had in there. Okay, so I'm going to keep going the way I was going here, I think, and keep trying to expand the area that becomes black. You could also try and get them to become more white. It doesn't really matter what this image looks like. The only reason, our goal here, remember, is to make something that we can easily magic wand to get the areas that we want. So it doesn't matter what colors this shifts into or anything like that. It's completely irrelevant. I'm going to pick another kind of lighter gray than what I had and fill this in now with gray. Okay, turn this off. So we've got this one and this one and this one. Okay, so now we've got our image here. And at this point, we could go in here and, you know, eyedropper some of these guys and take our paintbrush and paint in more gray if we wanted to. Whoops, I got a funky brush here. Undo that. Let's switch this to the normal paintbrush. There we go. Okay. Wrong layer. There we go. Okay. So I could come in and paint in more areas or smooth out areas. Okay. I can come in and take an eraser if I wanted to and erase certain parts, clean up certain areas. I could add in more black, take it away, whatever you want to do, right? We've got these three layers that we can play with. What I'm going to do as a precaution is duplicate all three of these and turn them off. Take these three and merge them down into one layer. And I'm going to hope that I don't even need to use these ones down here anymore, but I'm going to keep them there just in case. Really all I need so far is this one layer now. So the next part, we're going to take our text tool and we're going to type something. So we're going to type whatever, yeah, sleep seems good, right? Sleepy. All right. And maybe I'm going to make it
Red.
this like maroon. That's right. All right. Oops. Okay. And now I'm going to take my rectangular marquee tool and make a selection around the text. All right, this is getting exciting now. You guys are going to be blown away. All right, so I'm going to just subtract from my selection here and come back down. If you make it, it's easier to make it big and then trim the edge than to try to expand it in a perfect rectangle again. Okay, it doesn't need to be exactly up to the edge of the text, but we don't want it really large either. All right, and now we're going to go define brush from selection. So as we can imagine, our selection consists of these transparent rectangle and then the actual pixels that make up the word sleepy that we typed, right? So we're going to turn that selection into a brush. And then I'm going to call it sleepy 2. And I'm going to take my paintbrush now. I'm going to click up here. And it's important that you don't, at this point, don't change these default brushes to something else. Even by accident, it's going to be frustrating for you. If you just scroll to the very bottom of this list, though, of wherever you were, you should find your brush that we just made. Okay, here's some other ones I made earlier. Sleepy, what's this one? Just sleep. And this is sleepy. Okay, let's close that. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to deselect that. And this is a little big. Just make it a little smaller. So the next thing we're going to do is check out these brush options. And we are going to play with these things and check out what they do. So first, here's scatter. Okay, as I ramp up my scatter here, you'll see I need to make a new layer first. I can't put my brush on my text layer. Okay. So you can see what it's kind of doing here. It's placing these kind of randomly around there. I'm going to undo that and undo that and increase the spacing of this a little bit and paint on here. And it's a little laggy right now for some reason, but that's all right. Okay, so let's kind of go with that for now. And I'm going to turn this image back on. And now I'm going to basically just paint in all over the place here. And I'm going to change the brush size now, make it a little smaller. I think it's a good idea to make the brush size relate to the object that you're painting here in some way. Okay, so as you're doing smaller, more detailed areas, we're using a smaller brush. Okay, and almost like we're kind of painting in where the shadows and highlights and stuff are. I'm going to use a bigger brush, and I also switched the colors there, right? We're on a bit of a darker red here now. And I'm just going to make sure we get all over the dark black and gray areas there. Okay, just so we know as well, in here you can adjust the angle that this thing is at, the spacing. I'm going to try this hue jitter. This is going to pull between different colors here. And kind of, you can see we're getting some kind of yellow kind of values in here, kind of mixing in a little bit with that hue jitter. Okay, so I'm just going to add a few more in here. Okay, we're covering it all up. That's what we want to do. And then what we're going to do is, now we've got a bunch of different options. Okay, one pretty simple one is to go to the layer menu. We're going to create a clipping mask. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to only allow us to see what's on this layer, where it overlaps with pixels on the layer underneath. Okay, so we can see this little arrow here indicates that it's clipped to this layer beneath it. And you can see as if I take this layer with all the text on it and move it around, it's only going to be visible where the image underneath is. Okay? So I'm going to undo that. At this point, we could also change the blending mode of it, which is going to change the way it looks. Okay, you can just play with all kinds of different blending modes here and see what you like. We can change the opacity of it. Okay, we can make another text layer over top, and then take our brush again, and I'm going to kind of increase the scatter here so it's a little more random looking. Kind of don't like that. There we go. We can change this back or do whatever we want here. Okay, and we can change the opacity of this layer if we want to. We can take an eraser in here and dump some of this stuff. Can make it kind of like that, and then take the opacity down a little bit and just kind of circle this around. Okay, so you can combine this with any sort of effect we want. We can even do adjust hue saturation in here and change the color of these letters that we had in there. Okay, and we can increase the contrast, brightness of this layer, rather. Okay, so you can do whatever you want with this. We can still move it around, of course. And we can even scale it if we want to change the size of the text that's underneath.